Hey guys, it's Hannah and welcome back to The Dyslexic Reader, and today we're going to be doing my February 21 wrap up where I talk about all the books that I read in February and give you a lowdown. I know I haven't been posting a lot of videos recently, my health hasn't been terribly good, but we're back now and we are excited to move into March, and I want to update you guys on what I was reading during February while I wasn't really making videos. Some stats first. I read 10 books, about 2,500 pages, and 1 5-star, 1 3-star, and then 8 4-star. So it was quite a good reading month. And it was also a mix of different genres and age groups. So I'm quite happy with how that went. But no physical books. I have yet to read a physical book this year. I'm in the middle of one right now, so there will be the one in March. But I have either read ebooks, audiobooks, or mixed media where I read the physical book with the audiobook, but not just the physical book by itself. So I have yet to read a physical book this year without the aid of audiobooks, but it's kind of just a winter thing for me. I like doing crafts and playing video games, and audiobooks are just easier when I'm my health isn't good and I'm just lying in bed. It's a lot easier to read ebooks and physical books, so that's just what it has been this year. But I'm going to take you through. The first book was Orion Lost by Alistair Christholm, and this was a middle grade sci-fi, which was my 5-star, and I really enjoyed this. I thought like the characterization was really good. It's kind of a mystery sci-fi kind of, and the twists were really good and they weren't stupid, but at the same time they weren't really transparent. I kind of had guessed the majority of it before the end of the book, but it is a middle grade book, and I think if you were around the ages of 10 to 12 and like sci-fi mysteries, you would be completely hooked on this one. I thought the characters were really good. I thought the writing, the intrigue, the pacing, everything was really well done. So that was a 5-star for me, and I will be putting up all the covers to the side of me here so you can actually see the book, so it makes it easier if you want to look up the book and go and see what it's about. Also, all my books are listed on my Goodreads. On my Goodreads Twitter and Instagram are linked down below, and if you want to follow me on Goodreads you can see what I read. So if you want to go get more information about the books, there's tons there. Then I read a trilogy which were called Gamer, Virus and Cyborg, and these were all by Chris Bradford, and these were sci-fi, slightly more probably dystopian is how I would class them, and they were about a virtual reality game. It was set in the future. It kind of hit me hard. The first one opened up with it was set in the future and there's a lot of kids on the streets, and the reason why is because there was like a massive pandemic, and it's set like in 2030, and there was massive pandemic like 10 years before, so like now, and it wasn't affecting kids but it was killing a lot of adults. So a lot of adults died and left a lot of orphans, but also the kids were spreading the virus even though they couldn't get sick from it. So a lot of adults kicked their kids out because they didn't want them bringing the virus home. So it was quite close to home, and like the rich people were allowed to still go out in restaurants, but they had to sit in glass boxes, but like normal people weren't because of the virus. So that was all a bit weird, and this was written in like 2012, so like not related at all, but it's really just like the first chapter to explain why they're in the situation. But because everyone was locked inside because of the pandemic, there was a virtual reality kind of lifestyle was created because everyone was living online, and this virtual game got really popular where it was like a combat game, and they said like its selling point was how realistic it was. I don't really want to get into it, but they took children off the streets and used them as beta testers for the game, and our main character gets tested, but of course it's not exactly what you think it would be. And the second and third book follow the story. The first one I really liked. They all got 4 stars. Let me just check exactly how they lay up. So yeah, the first one on my rating out of 10 got an 8.14, the second one got an 8, and the third one got a 7.57. So they were all still in the 4-star bracket, but definitely first was the best, followed by the second and the third. I think there was a bit of a jump between the second. It looked like the first one was written to be a standalone, and then they decided that they were going to make it a trilogy. So the second and third didn't really connect the same way as the first one, but still would really recommend if that is a topic that seems interesting to you. Then I read a non-fiction book, which I gave 3 stars, and this was my 3-star for the month Post-Truth by Lee, going to find the name for you guys, Lee McIntyre. And this was like a little part of a series that was written for MIT by loads of different experts on loads of different things. But it wasn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. It was very, very politically heavy, and I thought it was going to be more like psychological and societal. But it was very, very political, and also obviously written by an American for MIT. Because it was political, it was American politics, which obviously doesn't interest me the same way. If it had been like social and psychology based, it would have just been kind of more global. But the fact that it was so politics based and then American politics based, there was kind of a lot of it I didn't care about. But if you're American that's into politics and the whole idea of post-truth, this is like quite a short, wee, easy, very digestible book that I would recommend. It was still interesting, and it was definitely well written and well researched and everything else. It just got 3-star for me because it wasn't what I thought it was going to be, and it wasn't quite my interest or what I was looking for. Then Duology by Gregory Scott Katsoulis. I'm not 100% sure on the pronunciation of that one. And it was all rights reserved and then access restricted, which was again like a dystopian sci-fi. That must have been the mood I was in. Where when you become 15, you get an Apple Watch essentially put on your wrist that you can't take off, and everything, all rights reserved, everything is copyrighted. Every word, every gesture, every action, every piece of clothing. Well, there's some public domain things, but clothing, everything, and there's charge for using everything, and you're just constantly monitored and charged on your wrist. So if I was to say to you, hello, my name is Hannah, hello, my name Hannah, they would all have charges. And then people obviously who are poor use cheaper names for their kids and stuff like that. And there's like public domain haircuts that are like super ugly, but if you can afford to pay for the rights to use nice haircuts and clothing and that kind of stuff. And our main character gets to her first teen birthday, puts her wristwatch on, and then refuses to speak. She's just like not participating. Everything's, I'm not going to open my mouth, I'm not going to say any words, and I'm going to wear all public domain everything and not be charged. And then it's a whole kind of, there's a whole movement from that. And again, felt like to me like the first one could have been left as a standalone. It didn't necessarily need a follow-up. And when I get my scores up here, they were both 4 stars. And again, the first one was slightly better than the second one, but I find that for a lot of books. I enjoy the first one a lot more because it's a lot more story building. But again, that sounds interesting. I love books. I love dystopians, but I specifically love books surrounded about the restriction of language and communication. I find that super, super interesting. And I have been wanting to read this book. It's been on my TBR shelf on Goodreads for so long, but none of my libraries or anything had it, and I'd never found it in any shops. And it just came on to one of my library's audiobook services, so I grabbed it, and it was good. I really liked it. It was a high 4-star for the first one, and then a medium 4-star for the second one. Then I read Dragons in a Bag by Seta Elliott, and this was a fun fantasy middle grade about a boy, and his mum has to go to court, so she leaves him with a woman that his mum knows, who wasn't her mother but raised her and looked after her. And the boy doesn't know her at all, has heard a couple of stories but doesn't really know her, but the mum has to leave him with him for a day, and they kind of go on a slightly magical adventure. And it was just fun and an easy read, and the characters were good, and the pacing was good, and the writing was good, and it was a low 4-star. I just really enjoyed the characters, and there was a lot of representation in it, and I thought it was just written really well, and any kid of any age with any interest I think would still enjoy it. It was just good and fun. And then the last 2 things I read were graphic novels, and it was volumes 1 and 2 of the Full Metal Alchemist, which I have been watching on the TV show and then reading the graphic novel manga to go with it. And I think these both got 4-star as well. The first one slightly better. I really liked the introduction to the series, both in the comics and in the TV show. I thought that it was really good, and I am hoping to continue on with the series. I think there's 18 volumes of it, and then 18 volumes of the manga, and like 51 or so episodes of the TV show. So I'm hoping to continue on with that. It is a more adult anime for those interested. It's graphic in certain parts, like violence wise. So I just want to put that warning out there if that's not something that you're into. But not normally something I'm into, but it's really not that bad. It's mostly like fighting and stuff, but there was like a couple of like bits in it for me, so I would just warn you of that. And that's us for February. Again, I think it was quite a good reading month. There was loads of different genres and book lengths and everything else, and I had a lot of fun reading this month, even if I didn't get a lot of videos. And I'm excited now for spring. I'm already off to a good first day of March. A lot of reading done today, and I'm looking forward to be able to like actually going outside and read and going on long walks and listening to audiobooks and all those good things. But that is us for today. Let me know how your February went, either reading wise or not. And as I said, all the socials are down below so that you can follow them to keep up to date with my reading, but also to get more information on any of the books I've mentioned. I hope you're all happy. I hope you're all healthy. I hope you're all staying safe, and I will see you in my next video. Goodbye.